We hear about AI chatbots all the time, right? But that's really just scratching the surface. Today, we're going to go beyond the simple chat window, unlock the box, and see how these powerful language models are actually being put to work to solve some pretty serious real-world problems. So let's dive in. So think about this for a second. You've probably used an AI to answer a question or summarize an article. But have you ever hit a wall? Ever asked it for, say, today's weather, or tried to book a flight and it just couldn't? Well, that little moment hints at a really fundamental limitation. See, the real problem isn't what the AI knows, it's the box it's trapped in. A standard large language model is basically this brilliant brain, but it's completely isolated in a digital box, totally cut off from the real, live, interactive world. All right, so if we're going to unlock the true potential of that brilliant brain, we have to start by understanding the walls of its box, these inherent blind spots that really hold a basic model back. Okay, so think about it like this. A standard LLM. It has no memory. It doesn't remember what you talked about 5 minutes ago. It can't click a button or check a website. It has no access to live data from the internet. And all of its knowledge is basically frozen in time, stuck in the past when it was trained. So the big question is, how do we break it out of that box? Well, the answer is pretty cool, actually. We stop thinking of it as just a brain, and we start treating it like the core of a much bigger system. We give it senses, we give it hands, and yeah, we give it a memory. We create what's called an augmented AI agent. And this image here, it shows you exactly what I mean. The LLM is still that central brain, but we augment it. We connect it to three absolutely crucial components: a way to retrieve new information, tools to actually perform actions, and a memory to keep track of everything. Let's unpack each of these. First up is retrieval. This is how we tackle that whole stale knowledge issue. Basically, we give the AI the ability to go out and search external sources, like looking through your company's private database or even just searching the live internet to find relevant, up-to-the-minute information before it gives you an answer. Next up, we've got tool use. And this is awesome. It's how the AI gets a pair of hands. We literally let it use other software or APIs. So it goes from just talking about booking a flight to actually booking it, or from just writing code to, you guessed it, running the code. And the final piece of the puzzle is memory. This is what gives the AI context. It could be short-term, just for one conversation, or it could be a long-term memory, remembering all your past chats. This is what lets it really learn and build on what you've talked about before. Okay, so once you bolt on retrieval, tools, and memory, well, this AI is no longer just a fun little chatbot. It becomes this incredibly powerful tool that's being rolled out at a massive scale in places you see every day, work and school. And when I say this scale is massive, I am not kidding. Just look at this number. In 2025, companies are on track to spend $37 billion on this tech. This isn't just some experiment anymore. This is a core part of business strategy. But what's really mind-blowing is the speed of this growth. Enterprise AI is, right now, the fastest scaling software category in history. I mean, think about that. We've never seen a technology go from basically nothing to a multi-billion-dollar industry in just 3 years. It's incredible. And it's not just that they're spending money, it's how they're doing it. There's been a huge shift. A year ago, it was about a 50-50 split between building your own AI or buying one. Now, a whopping 76% of companies are just buying off-the-shelf solutions. That tells you everything you need to know. They want those productivity gains, and they want them now. And hey, this productivity boom isn't just happening in the boardroom. It's totally transforming education. This quote from a university student in a recent survey, well, it says it all. It's wild. A huge 88% of students are now using AI for their schoolwork. And why are they doing it? Well, it pretty much mirrors what we're seeing in the business world. It all comes down to being more efficient and doing better work. Over half use it to save time, and the other half use it to boost the quality of what they're turning in. So, okay, AI is changing work, it's changing school, but there is one area where it's not just changing things, it's become a true killer app. I'm talking about software development. I mean, listen to this quote from a software engineer. It's a pretty bold statement, right? But it perfectly captures the massive shift that's happening. The whole idea of sitting there and typing out every single line of code is, well, it's becoming a thing of the past. And of course, where the revolution happens, the money follows. The market for AI coding tools just exploded. It grew 5 times over to more than $4 billion in just 1 year. And this isn't for those simple little autocomplete tools anymore. We're talking about sophisticated agents that can build whole features all on their own. Okay, but with all this incredible power and this lightning-fast adoption, we've got to pump the brakes for a second and inject a serious dose of reality. These tools are amazing, but they are not perfect. In fact, some really interesting research shows they have very specific, very predictable weak spots that we absolutely need to understand. A fascinating study on using AI for medical diagnosis actually came up with this great framework called the fragility triad. First, the AI's own consistency can become a trap. If it makes one mistake, it can lock onto it and just keep amplifying it. Second, it's super easy to manipulate because it can't really question the information it's given. And third, it has these huge blind spots when it comes to context. It really struggles to tell you what's important versus what's just background noise. And this table really lays out the differences in black and white. You know, a human expert, like a doctor, uses their experience to build this layered understanding of a problem. An LLM, it's got what they call a flat attention span. It's terrible at ignoring distracting details, those red herrings, and it's super vulnerable to being tricked by biased or leading questions. So where does that leave us? We've got this incredible game-changing potential on one hand, and these really serious risks on the other. What's the right path forward? How should we really be thinking about all this? Well, the consensus from the people who study this stuff is pretty clear. Right now, we should be thinking of these as incredibly powerful assistive tools. They're here to augment human expertise, not to replace it. The name of the game is cautious augmentation, not some premature rush to full automation. You know, when you think about it, we're getting really, really good at augmenting AI with tools and memory and data to make it smarter. But that leaves us with one last and maybe the most important question of all. How are we going to augment ourselves? How will we adapt our own skills and our own ways of thinking for a world where these powerful tools are literally everywhere?